Welcome. My name is Tracey Stevens, and this is the Healing Point podcast. So thank you so much for being here today. And I'm just going to hand over straight to you. And what is it that you'd like to explore with me today?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'd like to explore my sun allergy. I have a history of skin kind of conditions, allergies. I supposedly had eczema really bad as a baby. I'm not quite sure how young as a baby that was. Definitely like through kind of babyhood, toddlerhood, childhood, really bad eczema, kind of bandaged a lot and given all the creams and everything, which I think I must have grown out of about age kind of 6, 7, which then developed into more like skin allergies. I was kind of really sensitive to pollen and dust, and I'd get eye swelling and rashes, and it also seemed to coincide with spring and summer every year. As far as I'm aware, I wasn't ever sent to see a dermatologist or anything like that as a child, which have really bad kind of eye swelling and kind of redness and kind of soreness. And my parents always used to say, it's springtime every year. This always happens to you. Like, we don't know why. And then I would have a little bit of an effect in the summer. And I think that I went through a spell in my late teens, early 20s where it didn't bother me. I'm not sure how many kind of years that was, but I can remember going to Australia, traveling in my early 20s and my skin being absolutely fine. Kind of sunshine didn't bother me. It didn't, sort of nothing bothered my skin. Again, once perhaps my late 20s then started to react to the sun again, and had some really, really bad reactions when I had my children when they were younger. Kind of, again, the eye swelling, rashing on the face, kind of crusting and blistering, to the point where I wouldn't want to leave the house because I looked so terrible, looked so awful. It would only ever be on skin that was exposed, kind of so hands, arms, face, neck. I would, going to the doctors, they would only ever say, oh yeah, this is kind of eczema, or the odd doctor, I always saw a different doctor, and the odd one would say, possibly skin allergy, but didn't really know that that was a thing. But generally, I was always treated as having eczema and was given steroids and antihistamines and things like that. And I got to a point when I had the children, I was like, I'm not taking any of it anymore. It doesn't seem to help. So, I mean, my eldest daughter is now 12. So for the last kind of 10, 12 years, I haven't been using any steroids, any antihistamines, anything. And I've just been dealing with it every year. Last year, I had no reactions at all, and generally find that if I just wear sun factor, I wear like a mineral sun factor through the spring and summer, and my tolerance seems to improve through kind of by the end of the summer, I tend to not wear it so much. But it's strange. So I had a reaction again. That's kind of led me to contacting you. I had a reaction again this spring. We had our first lot of lovely sunny weather at the end of March. And whereas I started kind of exposing my skin to the sun in little bits, kind of like to get used to it, I immediately had a reaction on my hands and my face and my neck. It was quite mild this time. It was more of like a rashing, which then kind of was sore and itchy and kind of hot. And then it kind of just goes kind of almost completely healed now, kind of 3 weeks later. But then it kind of like peeled. It was like a snake shedding its skin, kind of like my hands peeled and like my neck kind of peeled. So that's where I am now.
So right now, at this moment, if you tune into your skin, how does it feel? How does that skin feel around you?
It feels okay at the moment. Kind of it all feels quite soft again, and my neck kind of feels quite soft. I say I feel slightly kind of puffy in my face, as if there's still some kind of like allergic kind of reaction. My eyes still feel like a little bit kind of puffy. But other than that, I seem to have kind of, it feels, mostly healed. It doesn't feel angry or hot or anything.
Okay. This sounds like it's affecting the way you live. So I'm making an assumption there, but is that true?
Yes. I haven't, because I have done for years, avoid being out in the sun too long, wear long sleeve clothes, kind of have to be mindful in kind of I work outside, so I kind of have to make sure I put my sun cream on before I kind of, go to work and things like that. So,
Oh, you work outside. Interesting. When it's an outside job, is it all outside?
no, I'm a photographer, so my
Ah,
photo shoots are generally out locally, kind of on the beaches and outside weddings and things like that. So,
I'm with you. Right. Okay. Obviously, with children as well, because they
yeah.
want to be going outside, and you live in a really beautiful place.
Yeah.
So there's the sea and the beaches, and so I'm sure it must have an impact on all of that. So this began at birth, or when you were very small, when you first arrived in the world.
Yeah.
If we just look at that for a moment, if that's okay, and then we'll come back into more of the present time. But I'm just wondering if we've got any clues there. Have you identified any clues in terms of? I know that you've been listening to the podcast, and I'm sure that you have understood the way I'm describe skin issues as being a boundary. I just wondered if you'd come to any conclusions about what might have been happening for you when you were first born.
Yeah, I don't know really. I think my mum was very unwell, became very unwell suddenly after having me. I think she potentially nearly died after having me. I don't really know the full story. She's not alive now for me to kind of ask in more detail.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wonder whether I was apart from her in any way for a while.
Yeah. And also what was your mum like as a personality?
She was very quiet, kind of very kind. She was the eldest of seven siblings, so she was very much the caretaker of her younger siblings. Before having me, she was a reception class teacher, so kind of very nurturing and kind and gentle.
The only reason I'm asking is being around the nervous system of our mothers affects
Yeah.
us as well. I'm coming to a conclusion here, but you can tell me if I'm off. But what I sense from you and then what you've said about your mum is the sensitivity
Yeah.
and the sensitivity to things outside of yourself. I mean, I'm not just talking about the sun here, but I'm talking about people and all the energies that are going on around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So has that been a theme for you in your life, that sensitivity in terms of friends, schools, how you grew up?
Yeah, I suppose so. I was always kind of very quiet, painfully shy up until kind of like my late teens, really. Yeah, always very sensitive and aware of what was going on about me. But I didn't kind of, I don't think I didn't ever kind of express it. So I suppose I didn't particularly express my emotions as I kept it all inside and kind of, what's the word, kind of observed the world.
Yeah, yeah, you stood on the edge of
Yeah.
it. Interesting, yeah. And losing your mum, has that been a recent thing or was that
15 years ago, she had breast cancer. So I was 28 when she died.
okay? So you had a period of time in your teenage years where your skin was clear, and then that went through to your 20s by the sounds of it and did all the traveling.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious whether, as you look back at that time, whether you can see any difference in yourself and the person you were and the person you were outwardly at those times.
Yeah, I suppose it's when I moved away from home. I went off to university. Yeah, living away from home and going and traveling and kind of doing stuff with friends, kind of less involved in my family at home and doing more my own thing, being my own person, I suppose.
There's a clue there.
Yeah.
That there's a really big clue there.
Yeah.
There's some differentiation. There has to be something, there has to be some reason why your skin became clear at one point, and again, it was clear last year, and then not again. So I'm looking for those triggers
Yeah.
that are going to are triggering your sensitivity and triggering your boundaries. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the question to explore really is who was I when I was at uni and I was traveling. And what did I feel when I came back to home? I don't know if you can follow that train of thought into anything solid for you. Sometimes it's hard to see inside ourselves, but
Yeah, I think the kind of being away at university and kind of traveling and things like that was definitely kind of a sense of freedom. Even though my mum had had her cancer diagnosis during that time, she'd had her treatment and we thought she was okay. And then kind of we found out, I'm not sure how old I must have been, that kind of it had come back. And I came home and my sister came home and I spent years looking after her. Kind of, she had, yeah, it was like kind of her cancer was over a kind of spread of 8 years. So I spent a long time then kind of living at home, taking care of her. So yeah, I suppose life wasn't my own to live.
yes, and these are difficult experiences that we go through, aren't they? Because it creates so much conflict. Because there's somebody that you love, but there's also a desire somewhere lurking
Yeah.
underneath of I'd like my life to look a little bit different from this. But again, not expressed because how could you in that experience? So the sense is that there's suppression at that.
Hmm.
And if I take you back to your early life and your early childhood, yes, that you've got the sensitivity there, the sense of being on the outside. What I'm wondering is whether there was any anxiety in you as a child to put yourself forward, to speak, to be loud, to express yourself.
I suppose being a child of the kind of 80s, we were still kind of expected to behave, be quiet, be good. That was kind of very much expected of
Yeah.
kind of my parents and my grandparents. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents,
Okay.
and they were still, they were very much of the be good, be quiet children. Yeah, and there were lots of us, lots of children. I kind of were raised. Not only was my mum and kind of mum, but I spent a lot of time with my grandparents and my cousins, which there were many of us. I think being kind of like one of the eldest, we weren't given that much attention because there were always the little ones to look after.
And did that responsibility fall to you mostly as
Yeah,
as the older one? Yeah.
yeah,
Or one of the older ones. And as you look back at that now, and you might maybe imagine your 12-year-old daughter in that
yeah.
experience, how do you think she would feel living the life that you lived as a child?
I mean, obviously there were elements that were great. I would look back on my childhood and say I had a great
Yeah.
childhood, a happy childhood, a safe childhood. Many things that you could have wished for more. Equally, yeah, if I was thinking about my own daughter being put in that place, you'd probably feel quite frustrated, I think.
Yeah. And the point is that this isn't about blame or putting down your experience in any way. It's just about your experience, like the truth of it. Because,
Yeah.
many of us have beautiful, beautiful childhoods, but it doesn't mean we still don't feel things
Yeah.
and we don't desire maybe something different.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay. It's nobody's, we're not making fault. It's just beautiful. But there are still things that we desire that are contrasting from what we experience. It's a bit like being a parent, isn't it? Like you love your kids, but you still want time away from them. So this is just about the truth of it, really, the truth of the feelings. And if you imagine your own daughter, I always find that's the easiest way to start looking at your own experience from through different eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so she might feel frustrated. What would she feel frustrated about if she was living that childhood?
I think perhaps not being kind of noticed or not being noticed as a like individual person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think potentially coming from a big family, like large extended family. There's always so many people.
Yes. And being quiet means you don't always stand out. So you don't often get overlooked.
Yeah.
Your own specialness as a human sometimes gets overlooked.
Yeah.
And here's another question. What would your 12-year-old be doing, or what would she want to do that was different from what she had to do in, and I'm using your daughter rather than you, but just as an example, but what would she want to be as opposed to what she had to be when she was with grandparents and lots of cousins?
Suppose free to be able, yeah, to express herself and have a choice in what was going on.
Yeah. And if you were to look at that time, looking back, and despite all the lovely moments, how would you like to have been seen by the others?
I suppose just to be noticed, to be able to feel as if I could have piped up and said my bit or what I thought or my idea or
Yeah, so were there louder, more expressive cousins and siblings?
yeah. And I think that's gone through, lifelong childhood friendships and yeah, and even now in kind of those adult relationships with kind of immediate family, kind of, yeah, kind of holding back on what's really going on in order to keep the peace and to make sure everything runs smoothly. And
You said quite a lot there in terms of what happens now. So you keep the peace, help things run smoothly, and make a decision at some level that it's better if I don't speak.
mm,
And if we fast forward to this spring, my feeling is there's a trigger.
mm,
There's a trigger always that comes along every year for you
yeah,
that is triggering this feeling. And I don't know if you can find it, or we can do a little bit more inquiry to see if it comes forward. Have you got any thoughts?
it's always spring. It's always kind of end of March, beginning of April. It's approaching my birthday. I always get a sense of, particularly as an adult and as a kind of parent, I find that kind of January, February, March type of year, but quite tricky. And I think at the age that I am, quite sort of a sluggish, treacly sort of few months. And then I get to spring, and I don't, whether it's because like my birth month and things like that, I get this kind of sudden flurry of excitement and energy and feel like the sun really gives me, like I really miss the sun over the winter and I feel like I'm a bit excited for it. And then I feel absolutely furious that my skin reacts the way that it does. I almost now at the point of I get cross every spring because, oh, this is happening again.
So that anger, and you've probably heard me talk about the redness coming up as a form of
Yeah.
anger. It feels quite burning and blistery. You've mentioned it there. There's a fury somewhere burning inside,
Yeah.
and it's a pattern that's been there for many years. So, in the past, leading up to your birthday, at this particular point, and you have the equinox and the clocks change, and there is an excitement, there's a change in energy. What was that like for you as a child, the lead up to your birthday? Do any memories spring to mind at all as we're talking about this? It's a time when parents go, "Oh, it's a lovely day. Let's go out, let's go to the beach, let's do this, let's." Does anything come to mind?
To me, no, I can't think of anything.
Did you enjoy your birthday?
I think it was often overshadowed by the fact that my skin was really bad.
Right.
The embarrassment. So the kind of how I looked was often, and even now, is a kind of cause of embarrassment. Yeah, not liking what what I looked like because it would often look awful and terrible. And as a child, you'd have that whole, children saying horrible things and, what's wrong with you and all of that sort of stuff, which I think I still feel frightened of now, I suppose, of having reactions kind of so bad that people say, "Oh, what's the matter? What's wrong? What's happened?" Like,
So did the fear build a while before your birthday?
I suppose I think about it, wondering what will happen.
Yeah, and how do you feel towards your skin?
Don't know. It's definitely like an element of, like frustration and embarrassment and
So I'm just going to make this invitation for you to recognize that the embarrassment is not coming from your adult side. It's coming from a smaller part of you, a child, like a child part. Does that make sense? So it's not you as I'm talking to you today, because you would understand that there's no judgment for anybody, no matter what happens to them, but you probably receive judgment from family, friends, cousins, other kids.
yeah.
You were receiving that judgment, and that's what creates the shame.
Mhm.
And that part of you still wakes up in the spring as the sun comes out, because you're faced with this really big conflict. Like, I want to go out, I want to be out there, I want to I want to soak up everything that life has to offer.
Yeah.
And yet this happens, so I have to hide away. I have to do these things. I have to. And so this conflict builds, and it's become a pattern.
Yeah.
And this is just a quick question, but just coming up to present. So last year your skin didn't react as much, and then this year it has reacted. I wonder what's been happening with the lead up this time towards your birthday and spring, and is there been anything else going on in your environment?
I can't think of, what it could have been. No.
If nothing comes to mind, that's fine. All I'm suggesting is that there'll be a link somewhere between your thoughts
Mhm.
and this flare up, and it may have an anger, a root of frustration for you. There's maybe something frustrating has come up, and the frustration is still in you as we move into this place. It may be just a thought about your skin. It may be a thought about something you can't do that you wish you could do. Any of those things can start to trigger this spiral of thinking and awaken that part of you that feels shame, embarrassment, but also to recognize behind all of that is a huge conflict of frustration, and somewhere inside of you there's a furious child.
Yeah. I'm not very good at being angry, or I don't cry either. So I'm not very good at, letting things out.
Yeah. What would be the consequence for you if you expressed those emotions? Go back in time. What would be the consequence for you if you've been really angry when you were a child?
Yeah, I would have been in trouble. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see that in your siblings, or?
Yeah. I think my sister was better at being angry than I was. I'm the eldest and should know better. And
So I've heard you say that a few times. Was that something that you were told? That voice?
yeah, yeah.
So you're the eldest, so you've got to come into the world and be grown up straight away. Can you see how that's linked? And if you'd be in trouble for saying something out of turn, who would you be in trouble with?
Mum and dad, although dad wasn't around as much. He worked a lot, but yeah, in trouble. Yeah, in trouble with mum.
Was that scary for you?
I generally don't ever remember doing anything very much that would get me into trouble. So at some point, there must have been something that made me realise, okay, I'm not going to do anything that's going to get me into trouble.
Well, there's the thing. Could it be that you felt it?
Yeah.
You felt disapproval
Mm.
rather than it ever being expressed.
Yeah.
Do you still feel disapproval as an adult? You're still aware of?
Yeah.
And as we're talking about that, how does that feel inside of you?
Yeah. Makes me emotional.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I ever felt like I got much approval.
Yeah. Well, I just want to create a little bit of space for you just to feel this. And here there's a pause in the recording while we connect to the inner child and do some deep and profound personal work. It's inappropriate to put into the podcast, but connecting these hidden parts of ourselves is very powerful and has the potential to be extremely healing. And we return after this segment. If you were to be able to do anything in the world, anything at all, what would you do? What's the desire in you?
I want to be more creative and have the chance to live a more creative life than I do now, and to travel and experience new things with children and have a more exciting life.
So, what I notice in you is, firstly, your huge sensitivity, which can be such a gift once you stop taking what they think out there personally. There's a power in you. All the frustration and anger that's in you, it is actually energy that wants to move through you. I think there's someone in you there that wants to speak and be seen. And you're now one step closer. But there's just an invitation there, just every time you feel that sense of, I can't be seen, or I don't want to do that because I won't be liked, or I might be rejected, or it's just to notice those moments, not make them wrong. Your skin is going to speak for you. So even the thought might be so deep and so subconscious that you can't hear it, but your skin will react. There'll be a thought process involved in every time you start to feel that tingle. And just go, oh, okay. There's that little girl in me that feels stuck and feels like feels like she's not seen, feels like everyone else is having a good time except her. There she is. It's like you can witness that coming up. And then just ask, is it true? Is it true? What is stopping me from letting go here, speaking here, being okay with what's happening? Because the only thing that's really stopping you is those thoughts. How is all this landing with you?
I had no idea where we were going to go or what we were going to talk about. It's been eye-opening. Yeah, I've had an inkling of the feeling of needing to be more me for a while and not really knowing how to go about it.
So it's small steps. And the key to all of it is pausing and going, what am I about to say? And what's something else? What's another way of reacting here? Because you might be doing things like saying, yes, yes, that's fine, automatically when, this is about the boundary. Don't forget, this is about the boundary. And there are probably lots of other layers here. But the essence of it is, here's the boundary. What is it that I want? I want to say? How is it that I want to respond right now? And just maybe doing something different or responding differently than you've responded before.
Yeah.
So responding is one way.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'd like to just invite you to bring to your attention is the thoughts. Become more mindful of what you're thinking, because we all get lost in our thoughts. Where are you getting lost in your thoughts? What's coming up in your mind? Because what's coming up in your mind is going to be a part of you that may be taking something personally when it doesn't need to be taken personally, or is going to be feeling angry or frustrated. And there'll be thoughts around that frustration, why is it me, et cetera, et cetera. So notice the thoughts and ask yourself, can I change this pattern of thought? Becoming the observer of what's going on inside of you. And I mean, finally, I think there's such a metaphor in the idea of the sun. That, there's the sun. The sun is out there, unashamedly out there, with all its brightness and with all its light.
Yeah.
It represents all the vitality of life, doesn't it? And I know that you would like to seek that out more, like you went to Australia, you want to travel more, you want to seek out the sun in different places.
Yeah.
And there's something there about welcoming the brightness in yourself as a reflection. It's just a thought for you to work with. Okay, does this feel complete for you?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, you'll find a lot more content on my Instagram account at thehealingpoint._. If you have a question you'd like to explore and are willing to take part in the podcast, you'll find all the information you need on my website, which is www.tracystevens.org/podcast. Thanks and see you soon.